Alright, what's up guys, Sean here, and I'm here to do my day 2 of PAX recap vlog thing. Today is Sunday, also known as day 3, which I'm not going to because my back is killing me and I would probably die. Because the last 2 days have been extremely painful, and I have barely made it through. And the other reason would be is the only thing I would want to do is wait in like extremely long lines, which isn't worth it, and I have to push this keyboard in, so quiet. Okay. So, in this video, I'm going to mention that the Dayz panel from this week about talking about the standalone, I recorded the whole thing using my phone. I was there in the room with my phone, hit the record button, and the audio is recorded, and I posted that last night. Some people in the comments are like, there's no gameplay. Yeah, at the beginning I say, the beginning of this had gameplay on a projector. But really all they did was walk around and pick up cans, so it's not that big of a deal, and you didn't miss anything. And please shut up. And then someone else was like, no, he just ripped this from somebody's video with the gameplay. Okay, for the first, 7 minutes, he walks around and picks up cans. The rest of it had no gameplay. There was just no gameplay. He talks the whole time. And so you don't need to see his face to understand what was going on. And since it was a panel with a lot of it being a Q&A, there is nothing to see. So if you want to hear about Dayz standalone, they got information on the alpha release. They got stuff about base building, which sounds interesting and confusing at the same time. They disinfect a can, and a bunch of other stuff that he talks about, radios and all kinds of stuff. The link to that is probably annotated and definitely in the description. You can go listen to that. It's about an hour or so long, talking Dayz. So yeah. That's up right now, and you can go hear about that. I was going to talk about it, but I figure if you want to hear it, why don't you just hear it straight from the source? It's all there, and, you can go listen and enjoy. So in this video, we're talking about the Swapper and The Last of Us. I have another video that I'm going to do talking about Daylight, Recoil, some more on that, and Elder Scrolls, which I might be giving away a copy of Skyrim for the Xbox. Maybe not. We'll see. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. However, in this video, the Swapper and The Last of Us. Let's start with The Last of Us, since that's probably... Actually, no, let's start with the Swapper, because you'll click off if I talk about The Last of Us, and then you won't hear about the Swapper, which is my favorite game. See, Swapper? See the other side of the card? Swapper. Anyway, I don't know if you could read that. However, the Swapper is an indie game coming out on the PC, coming out spring of 2013. So on the site, it says April 2013, and then they crossed it out, and it says spring next to it. So maybe I'd guess April or May or somewhere around there. They're taking it to GDC and PAX East, it said. I don't even know when GDC is. I don't know if that happened already or if that's happening soon. I think that's like next week or something, but anyway. The concept of the game is you're one little guy, and you can place other versions of you. I'm going to put, there's probably some gameplay or something right now. I don't know if you can understand it, and I'll maybe try to get some pictures or stuff, but there's part of this, which you're seeing probably now, which is me playing it. It's a little off-screen with my head, and then some of it's closer. But you can put up to 4 people, I think, down, and it's probably the coolest game I played there. It's hard to understand and wrap your head around unless you're playing it. But say this was a button you had to press. Make sure it's on the screen. You had to press this button, and there was another button up here. You can place a guy up here, and then walk over to touch this button, and so that both buttons get pressed at the same time. It's similar to in Portal, if you were to place a cube on one block, and then your partner stands on another block, and then the door opens, and you run through the door and stand on a third one, and then your partner can come through. It's similar to something like that, but instead you place down different guys. And you learn, after the first beginning pieces, that you can actually switch to different people. So if you place a guy here, and you're over here, you can switch to be this guy by left-clicking and pointing towards him, and then you'll become him. And so, if you walk this way, this guy goes this way. If you walk this way, this guy goes this way. They walk and do the same thing. They all imitate each other exactly. So sometimes you need to switch to this one to be this one. And there was one really cool part of the game that I kind of figured out by accident, but there was an arrow that said to go up, and I was like, how do I, like, I kept putting the guy and he kept falling, and I was like, I don't know how to get up there. Like, I don't understand. But I figured out that when you right-click to place a new guy, like, you hold it down, like, it goes into kind of, like, slow motion. So, if you're here, you place the guy up here. I'm doing this. This is a League of Legends skin card. This is the swapper. But you place the guy here, and you're here, and then you quickly switch to him and right-click again, and it goes into slow motion, and then you place a guy above him, and you click to him, and you kind of, like, jump up above each other slowly until you get to the top of the thing, and you can place the guy on the ledge and then switch to him really quick. It's a really, really cool game. Like I said, it's coming out on Steam sometime in the spring, hopefully. That's what they said, at least. You can go to www.facepalmgames.com/the-swapper, or just Google the Swapper game. You know, I was very impressed. And the other thing I learned in my brief little talk with the developers who were standing around the booth is that all the guys and a lot of the stuff in the game is made, or especially the guys though, they made using claymation, so it's a really actually pretty game considering that it's an indie game. Like, you know, I'm not saying indie games are ugly, but a lot of indie games are just like 2D sprites that, they're alright looking, but they're nothing special. But they made the guys out of clay and then they moved them around, and that's how they made the people, so it's a pretty cool game. I don't know, as far as story goes, how much there is, which is something I didn't get to ask because there were a bunch of people, there were people swarming around me when I was there. But I don't know if there's too much story. There are a bunch of quotes that pop up while you're playing. I don't know as far as story goes. Like, it would be really cool if the game had a story similar to Portal, where, like, GLaDOS just entertained you, but it doesn't appear to. But there was some talking, like, I went from one place and they said, like, oh, the person's now here. And someone else yelled at the beginning, like, oh, who did I just send off? And because you shoot off in a rocket at the beginning. So it's a really cool game, and I totally am going to buy it. And I recommend that you all at least check it out. If not, make that purchase. So, yeah, but probably between that and Daylight, my favorite games of the show. From what I played, I think that I enjoyed Recoil. And I think Elder Scrolls and The Last of Us are cool. And I played other stuff, but I'm just not remembering the names right now. But I think, like, The Last of Us and Elder Scrolls, like, I expect it to be at least alright, if not good. The Swapper came out of absolutely nowhere. I had never heard of it until I was there. And Daylight, I had heard of it before the show, and I, like, went to the show with intentions of playing it. But it's a really cool game in its own right. So, now on to The Last of Us, which is the last thing in this video. Haha, I'm so funny. You just laughed your ass off and fell out of your chair. I hope. Anyway, so The Last of Us. Being made by Naughty Dog, I believe. Naughty Dog makes Uncharted? Yeah, I believe it's Naughty Dog. Good job, Sean. We're coming to the video, ready to go. The Last of Us is kind of a post... I think the idea is an infection. Like, it was explained to me, but I didn't listen, and or I don't remember. I don't think they're calling them zombies. They're, like, infected people. But you are with a little girl, and you're going through this, I don't know. I don't remember, but maybe it's New York. I'll tell you this. I did not play the game, but because the line was 2.5 hours long, and you could never get in the line. Like, the line was always capped, and they said they'd come back in 30 minutes and see if you could get in the line. And I just didn't have time to do that with all the other things I was trying to do. And, like, the Dayz panel was coming up, and I was just like, I don't have 3 hours to spend in this line. So, but I did. They let you just stand along the outside, and you could watch someone. So I stood for a half hour from the beginning of one guy's play session to the end of it. So I saw the whole thing, the whole demo they played. And maybe I'll link to some gameplay from the demo, because I did find some. But my thoughts on The Last of Us are, if the story goes well, like it's a good story, and like it's actually, and the pacing is good, and all the things that aren't just gameplay driven go well. From what I'm told, I asked the guy who came out of it, and he said, like, the sound was really cool, and he was enjoying that part of it. I think the game will be good. I think if I was to guess how it feels, and based on kind of what I heard and saw, if you've played Uncharted before, it's going to control and feel a lot like Uncharted. It looks like Uncharted, and I don't mean that like, you know, the guy looks like Nathan Drake, but you know, Uncharted graphics is what you're looking at because it's made by the same people. It feels like Uncharted. As far as controls go, it's third person, similar to Uncharted. Um, there was the really interesting part that I thought was you don't have to interact with everything. Like if you see something or a person or somebody or a zombie or infected person, whatever they want to call them, to the side, you don't have to go after them. Like you don't have to shoot them. It's not like Uncharted, a lot of times they spawn waves and waves of enemies, and you have to take them all out to move to the next section, or you can try to just run past them, but it doesn't always work. What I noticed was there was this infected zombie thing like eating another person on the ground, and then the guy looked at him and just went past him, and like it didn't pay attention, and like he hucked a bottle and like distracted some people, and they went off to the side and like looked at whatever that noise was. So I think the game's going to be good. It's coming out in June, I believe, on the PS3. No Xbox, no PC, as Naughty Dog does make exclusives for Sony. So, The Last of Us looking good so far. There wasn't any big thing that I saw. It wasn't, compared to what they've shown already, there was nothing like, whoa, that's amazing. Like, I've never seen that before. But there was one thing we got in like a fight. Like, he pressed a button, like hit the thing like with the bat in the stomach and then like bash it over the head. I thought that was pretty cool. I did see the shooting. It looked like Uncharted, gun control mechanics and stuff. So, and I don't know how prevalent guns are and things like that in the world, but the game looks good. So to recap this video, the Dayz panel is available now on my channel. You can listen to the entire panel, start to finish, with Q&A being a lot of it, but he does talk at the beginning with the points he wants to get across. Daisy's looking and sounds amazing. Like, there were so many things I was like, wait, you're doing that? Like, that's probably the game I'm looking forward to most. And the fact that he said, like, all these other things that I never heard before, I was like, holy shit, I want the game now. Which made it worse for me because I've been fucking waiting for that game. It was supposed to be out in December, and now they're looking at June for the alpha. And as soon as they release the alpha, he said that they have 12 months at least of post-launch support, similar to how Minecraft was developed. So there's that. The Swapper. The Swapper, my favorite, probably one of the coolest concepts I saw at the show. I think Dayz would be my favorite thing I saw at the show because I love that concept, and I loved everything they were doing with it that I saw and heard. But as far as, like, basically I'd put Dayz, the Swapper, and Daylight all in the same plane of my favorite things I saw at the show. So the Swapper's looking really awesome. Steam, spring of 2013, so coming up soon. And The Last of Us, which will be out in June, looked very good as well. And I am probably going to pick up that game as soon as it comes out. So, thank you guys for watching. The next video will cover Elder Scrolls, some more on Recoil and Daylight, and then a little bit that I heard from Gearbox about Borderlands 2, just a quick note. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later.